Happy Monday, everyone. I'm Robin Ducharme, and I'm so excited to be joined on our IG Live today as the experts with dating coach, certified dating coach, Damona Hoffman. This is fantastic. I love Damona. She gives an amazing advice. And so, for those of you joining us for the next 30 minutes, if you are single, if you're online dating, if you're wondering how to navigate the dating world that we live in now, I hope that you're going to join us and ask Damona your questions. Hello, Damona.
Hi, good to see you again.
I'm so happy to see you.
Me too. This is great. Hi,
I'm
everybody.
gonna do a really quick introduction for you, and I wanted to hold up your book too and ask you how it's going, Damona.
You got
How
it.
is it? How is
Big
it
twin
going?
books.
Your new book is called F the Fairy Tale: Rewrite the Dating Myths and Live Your Own Love Story. Fantastic. And I can't wait to talk to you more about your book when we're on the podcast recording in a few weeks.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be very exciting. And I see some familiar faces here in the chat. So just want to say hi, Jen. Hi, Anna, Paula. Hi, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. We have 28 minutes, and Damona is our beautiful certified dating coach who's going to answer your questions. You are a regular cast member of the Drew Barrymore Show, which I absolutely love, and frequent contributor to the Washington Post, the LA Times, and Access Hollywood. Your podcast is called Dates and Mates, and this is an amazing achievement. It was named Podcast of the Year at the Black Podcasting Awards in 2022. So way to go, Damona.
Thank you.
I love working with you, and I'm just so happy that you are joining us here to give your dating advice.
This is my favorite thing to do. And I have been doing Dates and Mates now for 11 seasons. And when I say seasons, I mean years. Like sometimes people say seasons and it's like 8 episodes. No, it's 52 episodes a year. So it is a labor of love, as they say. And on that show, I always answer questions from the audience in a Dear Damona segment. So I was really excited when you invited me to be here and to answer questions from the Real Love Freddie audience. So
Let's do it. So I'm watching the chat. Please, those of you that are live with us, ask your questions. I'll ask you one of your questions. So we had some excellent questions submitted.
Great.
The first is, I joined Tinder and Bumble at the beginning of the year. I get a lot of matches, but I'm really selective with who I actually go on a date with. Even with that, I feel like the men I'm meeting aren't looking for anything serious, which seems to be a common theme these days. Do you have any advice for how to avoid this?
So first of all, I have to say that I have been in the online dating space for a long time, longer than I've even been doing Dates and Mates. I met my husband online.
Yes.
Can I even say, I think I probably said here last time, we met online 20 years ago. So I have, since that time, I have written dating profiles, and then I became certified as a dating coach to help people through all the phases of dating, not just getting past the swipe and getting to actually get to the date, and then beyond the date to the future. So I think that's important information before I answer this person, because they specifically named a couple of dating apps, and I feel that there's a lot of frustration around dating right now that is being directed solely at the apps. And I would like to be like, what I talk about in F the Fairy Tale and what I like to do with my clients is to really get introspective about our own dating process and about the way that we show up and the belief systems that we have and the way that the things we repeat to ourselves. So there were a couple of things that you just read that kind of a little bell went off for me when I hear someone say that they're not seeing a certain thing online, or that everyone there seems to be only interested in, I think you said, casual relationships. Obviously, if online dating is the primary way that people are meeting today, that narrative cannot be true. Now, I'm not negating this person's experience of having met people who are not looking for something serious. But I like to then say, well, what responsibility do you have? How are you showing up to create this result? Who are you allowing into your life? How have you presented yourself in your profile? When do you bring up the conversation that you're looking for a serious relationship? And we just have to take ownership of all of that before we say, oh, it's Tinder, it's Bumble, it's another dating app, and ask ourselves what we might be able, what we have control over, what we have power to shift, and how we might show up differently to get a different result.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, when I read this, I was thinking it could be something as simple as just putting in your profile, your dating goals are a long-term relationship, okay? Committed long-term relationship. And even in the written part, I am looking for a long-term committed relationship. Why not just put it out there?
You know why though, Robin? People don't want to put it out there because it's very natural, but we're afraid of rejection. We're afraid that if we say we want that that's going to scare them all off. But I just want to remind everyone listening that it is going to scare them off. It's going to scare the wrong ones off, and the right ones are going to lean in. Now, that doesn't mean that you want to say in your profile, there's a lot of data around not saying the negative things. Like a lot of times I'll read like, don't even talk to me if you're a time waster. If you're just looking for hookups, keep it moving, pal.
Yeah.
Which is like, I know sometimes how we feel, but that's like the inside, that's the quiet part that we don't say out loud.
Inside voice. No, you do not put that on your profile. Do not put negative stuff like, no, good.
Yeah, and I have data from OkCupid that backs that up. Profiles that say, don't even message me if, get far fewer responses than those who don't. So lead with the positive.
Exactly. Where do you think the balance point is from giving someone the benefit of the doubt versus falling in love with their potential?
This is a great question. I don't think we should fall in love with potential, but I also don't think that we should play too far forward. Like anxiety comes up when we are ruminating on the past or we're projecting towards the future. And we tend to do that when we have expectations. I mean, that's literally like what I talk about throughout F the Fairy Tale. It's all about the stories we tell ourselves. And we get frustrated when the story we're telling ourselves is not lining up with what we're seeing. And so, Maya Angelou said, if someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Yeah. Don't make them prove it to you again and again. So if you see something that's not in alignment with what you ultimately want, I would lean towards hearing that than leaning into the potential of what else it could be. What do you think?
I absolutely agree. Like, I love the name of your book, F the Fairy Tale. Like, it's time for us to get real here. And we need to be more present in these interactions and listening, like you said, and being very discerning. And if, like you said, if somebody's showing us that you're not going for potential. Like the person that's in front of you is showing you who they are in many ways. So I would just say, just pay attention to that.
Yeah, completely. Gosh, there's a bunch of questions in the chat, Robin.
I know.
Are we going to get to those later? Or are we going to go to the ones that...
How do you consciously break the pattern of being attracted to emotionally unavailable men who give mixed messages? So this is kind of along the lines of what we just talked about, Damona.
Girl therapy.
Yeah.
I mean, pattern breaking. It's the first step is acknowledging it. So you've done the first step. The second step is changing your behavior so that you get a different result.
Right.
Yeah. Simple answer.
Can you tell us about the criteria of choosing to go on another date if you feel curious to learn more and giving people more chances? Like, how many dates are you recommending, right? If you're...
I made it so simple. I made it so simple in the book. I have a 3-date rule.
3 dates.
And I love that you use the word curious, because that's the word that I use in the book. It's the word I talk about on Dates and Mates all the time. Are you curious enough at the end of the first date to spend one more hour, maybe 90 minutes with them? And that's a side conversation. I think a lot of folks are spending way too much time on first dates. And
I agree. Right.
Yeah. And that goes back to the potential and the fantasy. The longer you stay on the date, the more you get sort of invested in a particular outcome that may or may not exist in real life. So when you give it 3 dates, and this is provided they don't have I would say your deal breakers, but I kind of prefer to give my clients just a deal breaker because we could have dating death by deal breaker all day long. But if you have a deal breaker and they have that, like let's say you want kids and they don't want kids, like you're
Deal
done.
breaker.
That's it.
Yep.
So make sure that that they don't have the deal breaker, and then also like that they haven't done anything that's violated your values or made you feel uncomfortable. Beyond that, if you're curious, not like it's funny because I was just talking to Drew Barrymore about this on backstage on the show, because she was saying she went on a first date and she was like, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. I don't know if I should go on a second date with them. And I was like, don't forget, she's read the book. She endorsed the book. I'm like, 3-date rule. You've got to go on another date to see if you don't have clarity, you need to at least pursue clarity enough till you have an
Pursue
answer.
clarity. I like that.
Yeah.
That is good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this person on the chat, I love all your questions. Thank you. Keep them coming.
Keep them coming.
Is asking, I'm in my mid-40s and looking to start dating again. Help. Am I ready to date if I'm not ready to put myself online?
Ooh, this is a great question.
Yeah.
Because I have all of my clients online.
Yeah.
Even like even if they come to me saying, I don't really like online dating. Because I feel like, especially for someone over 40, it is the best way to expand your dating pool, hands down. Like you're going to meet people that you otherwise would not have met.
Right.
That said, I'm also not about pushing people to date when they don't really feel ready. So that's the part of the question that's interesting to me in getting underneath. What is that feeling actually? It's not online dating. The feeling is not online dating. Maybe the feeling is like a little bit around new technology that you haven't really engaged with before. Maybe that's it. But what is the feeling that comes up when you hear online dating? Because sometimes people don't know what they're actually afraid of. Maybe it's that rejection we were talking about earlier, Robin, or maybe it's just the overwhelm of, I don't have a criteria by which to sort these options. So it just feels like there's so many options and it's overwhelming. And when we identify what the actual hesitation and fear is, and we address that, then we can develop a dating plan that's going to work for you, inclusive in some way of online dating, but not necessarily reliant on it for everything. Certainly not reliant on it for all of your dates. Oh, we got some hearts on that. Thank you. Thank you. And I just want to say hi to Scott and Reality TV Choi and Dr. Tara. Hi. Oh my gosh, this is a fun one.
This is a very fun one. You know, the other thought that came to mind is around, you know, you don't have to be 100% ready, but like you're willing, right? And you're going, like you're leaving the house, okay, like feel good, like dress nicely and smile in the grocery store, wherever you are, in the bank lineup, and strike up a conversation, right?
Yeah.
So
you never know.
You never know.
Again, like not being attached to the outcome, right?
Right.
Because if we are thinking like, oh, I can't talk to this person at the grocery store because what if they're in a relationship and what if they reject me and what if, like, we play so far ahead. It's just like, it's just a conversation. It's just a conversation, y'all. I did this whole video about how easy it is to start conversations. And I was like, look, I mean, I'm married. I'm not trying to get a certain outcome, and people are like, well, easy for you to say. Well, yeah, easy for me to say because I can detach myself from the outcome of that conversation. And that's what I'm inviting singles to do, to also detach from that outcome and just look at the conversation, and then wherever it goes, it goes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody's asking, any insights or tips for dating as a single parent?
Well, first of all, I'm a parent as well, so I know your kids come first, hands down. Online dating, very efficient for single parents, right, Robin?
Oh, yes. And you're recommending a video chat before you get ready and go meet somebody in person, right? Like, if you would you say?
I'm a few minds on this. I think, as I said earlier, I've been an online dating coach a very long time. So I've seen a lot of iterations of people's process with online dating. I think right now, however, the speed of online dating is out of control. The This idea of efficiency, and like I can be talking to multiple people at once, and the speed with which people match, start messaging, move to the date right away, is not ultimately leading to the best outcomes,
Oh,
and is making people feel really frustrated with dating. Can I get an amen in the comments? Can I get an amen? Because
well,
I
I would
know
love
you
to
all
hear
are
more
feeling
about
it.
this.
Yeah, so the speed, it's preventing us from really being able to do the proper screening process, I call it, in my programs, before you even get to the date. So for the longest time, I actually really like a phone call. And I know everyone on the chat that is Gen Z literally just passed out, and they were like, a
Exactly.
phone
Like, no,
call?
there's
I
no
don't
way
even
there's a
know.
phone call.
How do I work this thing? I like a phone call because it is a limited amount of information, and yet you can tell a lot from someone by just the tone of their voice, by how authentically they answer questions about things in their profile. You can tell a lot, but you got to keep it short and sweet, because the whole goal is to get offline and into the real world. So I'm still a fan of the phone call, but I realize there's some resistance to phone calls now. During the pandemic, the video chat took over everything, but you have to consider there's so much more information in, like, y'all are seeing my whole office and everything. Like, your
Yeah.
cat's behind you, like your kids are behind you. It's like, it's very intimate, actually. You're inviting somebody into your home. So I have somewhat reluctantly accepted the video chat as an alternative screening step. However, I am still a fan of the phone call if you can make the phone call happen. But please do something, because if you're just going right from the chat into the real world, that's why we have so much ghosting. I saw those amens in the comments before. I wonder how many of you all that said the amen are doing some sort of a pre-screening step, and how many of you have been stood up or ghosted or canceled on last minute. Because I don't want that to happen anymore. Are you seeing that too?
But what, can you please tell me, Damona, why is that happening? Are you saying because people are showing up to these dates and they're like seeing this person and they're like, I'm out?
No, well, maybe sometimes, but hopefully not. I'm seeing a lot more of canceling like right before the date. One, because you're not a real person yet. If you're just a name and a phone,
Right.
they haven't developed an emotional attachment to you. So they have no reason to really show up for you. So I'm seeing a lot of people like kind of hedging their bets because everybody is being flaky. We just had just absolute rampant overload of communication during the pandemic because we were always online, right? So, and we had video chats, and we had
Yeah.
Slack, and we had
Everybody's
DM.
doing Zoom meetings for work. You're just like, oh, you're just,
We were
it's too much.
so overscheduled, and even just like you think of how work was different. Like, you might have been able to just walk down the hall and grab your boss for a quick convo before. Like, now you got to schedule it and be on the calendar. So there's a resistance to scheduling. There's a resistance to being available, and people are getting ghosted themselves. So they are choosing to kind of hedge their bets and have a lot of conversations simultaneously. So they may not even remember that they made a plan with you for the next day. So I always have my clients do a follow up like 24 hours before and just say, and it's always an invitation. Like, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Can't wait to talk more about, I don't know, the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like something that reference something that they might have an emotional connection to, or something to remember, that they remember you by,
Yeah.
that then you're going to create anticipation to bring back into the conversation next.
Okay. I like the idea
Simple.
about a phone call and possibly video chat, but I do, like you're saying, it's like you want to have some sort of comfortability with this person before you meet them in person.
Yeah. Tina says Tina's been ghosted
Yeah.
too. So I know you guys know what I'm talking about,
It's
but we
it's
can
it's
stop
it's
it.
terrible, but it's
It's
happening,
happening.
right?
and I can't stop all the people from ghosting, but I can at least educate the folks that are on this live right now. And I promise you, when you hold yourself to a higher standard and you hold the people that you give your time to a higher standard, what do they say? A rising tide lifts all boats. So we can fix this ghosting problem, but it's going to take everybody here
Yeah.
working on it.
So going back to our community's question around dating as a single person, single parent. Any
Yes.
anything else you would want to add to that,
Oh,
Damona?
yes. So, one, you need to be the star of your profile. I say this for everybody, whether you're a single parent or not. But again, as a parent, I know that sometimes your life gets like wrapped up in your kids a lot, but you're presenting yourself as a sexual being, as a romantic being, and you're not in that moment putting your parent foot forward. So I say no pics of your kids, none. You can mention I'm a parent, but we don't want to emphasize that as the center of your life, because not because your kids aren't important. I know your kids are important, and I know as of right now they are the central focus of your life. However, what are you doing when you're dating? You're inviting somebody else into your life. So they need to feel like they're going to have space in your life if they come into it, that it's not going to be always their second to your kids. So that's my take. I say definitely online dates. Definitely, bless you. Definitely use the dating apps as a tool so that you can have things scheduled. You may need to like carve out certain date nights, like maybe if your ex has the kids, those are your dedicated date nights, and then really make a promise to yourself that you're going to do a date related activity. So whether you've lined up a date for that night or not, or you go to a mixer, or you work on your profile, do a date related activity when you have carved that time out, and then you can kind of incrementally build your dating life to be a focal point, because it's really easy to give you, and this goes for anything, like you give attention, what they say, attention goes where energy flows, right? So if you are putting all of your focus into your kids, into your job, into your family, that is giving you the love back. That's what you're putting the love into. You have to kind of put that same love and attention into your dating life before the person appears, because they'll say,
Wow.
oh, I'll make the time when they arrive. Honey, they ain't gonna arrive, because they
Right.
don't, they're like, where do I fit
Right.
here? Right.
Wow. I love that. What should I make sure to include on my online dating profile? What stands out from the crowd? This is a really good question because, I mean, if you are single, and most people that are single are online dating, how are you going to stand apart from the thousands of people?
Okay, very easy. First of all, just
Yeah.
get off the fairy tale, because I break it all down into
And I
it.
love the colors too, Damona.
Thank
It's
you.
so pretty.
I do too. I didn't pick it. The publisher picked it, but
Yeah.
I am a pink enthusiast. So okay,
Me
I'll
too.
make it really simple. I'll give you my little rubric for the three must-have dating profile photos. Are y'all ready? You
Yeah.
gonna write this down? Okay. Number one, color. There's the three C's. Color. This is strategic. Robin, it is not a mistake that I am wearing a red shirt today.
Yes.
And you should consider wearing
Okay.
red, or we were talking about
True.
color, the
Yeah.
beautiful color here, pink. A bold color will get you to stand out. It is strategic. If someone's swiping through a lot of photos, what's going to catch their eye? Color. So color, then the next one is context. Tell your story through your photos. I know y'all. We all want somebody who's going to read everything on your profile and very thoughtfully consider it and be like, yes, this person and I share so much in common. I really understand them. I'm going to send them a thoughtful message. We do not have the time. Nobody has the time. I know you don't have the time to do that. Do not expect that of somebody
Yeah.
else. So tell your story visually through your photos. You love playing tennis? Great. Have a picture of yourself in your cute little tennis outfit. Number three, the third C, character. This is the one most people forget. I want to get your take on this one, Robin. Character is showing your personality. It's showing that you don't take yourself too seriously. You have a sense of humor. It's showing that You have a funny side, a quirky side, a nerdy side, a goofy side. It's that one that really gets someone to say, this is not just a pretty face. This is someone that I really connect to and want to meet. What do you think about that character photo? Because I do get some pushback on
So the
it
character,
sometimes.
so you're actually saying that you want to make sure that you have, this is all about photos, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that you have to include character photos.
Yeah, your personality,
Yeah, like
pick.
so I'm online dating,
Okay.
and I didn't say that to you. And I have a few pictures of me, just like it's just me, but I'm laughing and showing that like joy is so important to me, and taking life not too seriously most of the time. So yeah, like smiling, having fun.
And I
Is that what you
bet
mean?
those are the photos that you get comments on. Like,
Yes,
it's really important to pay attention
yes,
to what people are engaging with. I love that. Mine of Tiffany said, character check.
yeah,
You pay attention and really kind of study the results of your online dating experience and your profile. So your profile is never done. It's a living
yes.
document. It is always evolving, as you are always evolving. So look at when you swap certain photos out, and I recommend doing this at least once a month. Change out your primary photo. See if you get more messages. See if you get more matches. Change the other pictures. See which ones people comment on and engage with. This is very easy to do on Hinge because you have to engage with a particular part of the profile. And then I'll just say really quickly on the bio part of the profile. Obviously, I talk about it in great detail in the book, but you can say a lot with a little bit of space. I do kind of miss the days of like very thorough profiles, but even the legacy apps, they don't, it's everything's been truncated as we've transitioned to solely app dating on the phone. There's just nobody wants to read that much anymore. So sad because we don't get as much information now. All of that screening process happens in the DMs, and that's a whole other, like, we don't even have time to get into all that today,
No,
but I talk about it a lot on Dates and Mates because that is a key part of the process of getting from the match to the date, is knowing how to present yourself in the DMs. But I will say that with the bio, we don't have to. We want to tell our story through the bio as much as we can, but it doesn't mean long.
so are
I
you?
think people miss.
And just quickly, what would you say are some things that you do want to like? Are you sharing some of your values? Like,
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to get too deep in the profile,
no.
but if you can tell a story that demonstrates a value or say something that has a polarizing reaction. So like I tell a story in I give an example in the book of like saying, I always clap at airplane landings. Like, I
Yes,
don't know
it's so
why
funny.
airplane
I love
landings are
that.
so divisive, but people have an opinion on that. And that might say, I don't know, do you clap? You clap at
Oh,
airplane.
definitely. Well,
Of
especially if
course
we're
you
going,
do.
especially if we land in a place we're all excited to be in. Like,
Because
come
you're
on.
all about the joy, right? And so
Yeah.
I would get that from a phrase like I clap at airplane landings. I get the kind of person that you are.
Yes.
That's much more informative than just saying like I'm a joyful person and I love to laugh. What do you love
Right.
to laugh at? Tell me more. Give me more information and put some meat on the bone, because we want to think of that about me section as leaving a thread that someone can pick up on and have something to message you about. Because everybody's like, I'm tired of like the hey, the hey, good morning
Yeah.
texts. If you want something more, give somebody something more to engage with.
Oh, I really like that. Oh my gosh. Well, time goes by so fast when we're talking, and I just love our time together. Thank you, Damona
Thank
Hoffman.
you. Thanks everybody for
Thank
joining
you, everybody,
too.
for joining us. And I hope everybody's going to read your beautiful book, F the Fairy Tale. And we're going to talk about it in a few weeks on the podcast.
Can't wait.
So
Thank you for having me.
thank you,
Have a great
everybody.
day.
Enjoy your day.